How y'all doing, fellas? It's your boy Jermaine from General G Recruiting, back with another video. So this is gonna be a little different. We're gonna look at a study, a research study that involves minoxidil. And we're gonna see, what I'm saying, how it affects our hair growth. Shout out to my subscriber, Just Jesse, for linking this study, this journal article to me. I'm gonna leave your name, in the video. Just give you a shout out. I appreciate that. And I think, it's very interesting. And a disclaimer before I break down the study, this is just an abstract. So I didn't have access to the actual whole study because they're charging like $55 to look at the whole study. So you have to kind of take the information that they give out in the abstract with a grain of salt, because a lot of times it's a lot of key information that they don't really give out. The abstract is just a general study of everything that they found in the study. So let's get down to it, man. So the study was done October 21st, 2019. So it's rather recent. And the title of it is The Efficiency and Safety of New 10% Topical Minoxidil versus 5% Topical Minoxidil and Placebo in the Treatment of Male Androgenetic Alopecia, a man, I can't pronounce that shit. A trioscopic evaluation. So before we get down into it, let's break it down, some of these terms, so we can be on the same page. So first of all, we can look at the term topical. So topical basically means applying to your skin. So based off the abstract, it doesn't really specify whether they're using the liquid form of the minoxidil or the foam form of the minoxidil. So we don't know about that. Placebo, if those of y'all who don't know what placebo is basically a product similar to the minoxidil that they're using, but it doesn't contain minoxidil. So if they gave you like a solution, one is 10%, one is 5%, that placebo solution is going to look exactly like the other two, but it's just not going to have the actual product in it. And so also alopecia just means hair loss, whether it's like a receding hairline or male pattern baldness. That's what they're looking for. So this study is actually looking at people that use minoxidil on their head instead of looking at it on their beard. So I still feel like this study can be, can be used and interpreted in terms of our minoxidil beard journey. And then this last word, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it again. It's basically analyzing the scalp and the hair follicles under a microscope so you can get a better picture of it. All right, so with all that being said, let's get into it. So the introduction, androgenetic alopecia is a stressful condition for males. Minoxidil 2% and 5% have been FDA approved for the treatment of this condition. So it has been approved for the treatment of male pattern baldness, but not for the beard. In literature, all the studies have compared minoxidil 5% with 2%, although other concentrations from 2% to 12.5% are available. We believe this study is the first one to compare 10% with 5%. So the objective of this study was to compare the efficiency and safety of 5% minoxidil with 10% minoxidil, as well as comparing it with a placebo control group. So the materials and methods, this is the breakdown of how the study was conducted. So it was a 36-week study. There was 90 participants, 90 men. And what's really important is it was double-blinded, placebo-controlled, and it was a randomized trial. So those of y'all who aren't familiar with statistics or research studies, this is the gold standard in terms of research. So double-blinded means that neither the participants as well as the people conducting the study, neither one of them knew who was getting the 10% minoxidil, who was using the 5% minoxidil, and who was using a placebo. The placebo control means that they had a placebo in there. So they had a third of the participants were using a product that didn't have minoxidil at all. And then a randomized control, that means that the participants were randomly assigned to which minoxidil or the placebo group that they were going to use for the 36 period. So that's very important. So that means that this study right here is the gold standard in terms of getting rid of all kind of bias in the study. It didn't have a large sample size of 90 men, but it is what it is. All right, and so the results, after 36 weeks of therapy, 5% minoxidil was significantly superior to 10% topical minoxidil and the placebo in terms of change from baseline and total vertex and frontal hair mean count respectively. So I'm not sure what they mean by total vortex, but they said the 5% had increased the hair count of the men. So that's very significant. In terms of like these numbers right here, it's been 4 years since I took my last statistics course. So in terms of like the p-value to know if this is significant or not, as well as standard deviation, I don't remember all that stuff. So I'm just gonna take this, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying, take it how it is. So they said 5% was significantly superior. Another important thing is there was no reported sexual dysfunction in all 3 groups. A lot of people ask this question, does minoxidil affect your libido? According to this study, none of the participants experienced that. I personally haven't experienced it either. All right, and so the conclusion, 5% of the topical minoxidil was moderately superior, which that's kind of weird. So remember in the results, it says significantly superior. But then down in the conclusion, it says moderately superior than a 10% topical minoxidil and placebo in increasing hair growth opposite to the expected. The irritation was marked for 10% minoxidil. Psychosocial stress after 10% usage was worsened by shedding, irritation compared to the high expectation in comparison to 5% usage. So my interpretation of that was people experience more side effects from the 10% minoxidil. They experience more shedding, more irritation, but at the same time, not having the same amount of hair growth from the 5%. So in my opinion, I'm thinking that they use the liquid version of minoxidil of the 10% and 5%, but I don't know. In my opinion, using both 5% and 10% foam, I know for a fact 5% works because that's what I used to get started to have a beard. Then I switched to the 10%. It wasn't a huge improvement. It could have helped. I don't know. I still have weaknesses, but you know what I'm saying? Take it for how you want. At the end of the day, you got to try it on your own self. Everybody's different. Hopefully this video was cool. Hopefully y'all learned something. And keep subscribing to the channel. And if y'all interested in looking at this article, the abstract, or if you even want to purchase it, I'm gonna leave the link down in the description. I'll talk to y'all later.